So today we got a really short and simple video. We did the lower door trim on the C4 S4 recently, and today we're going to do that on the D2 S8. So stay tuned, and I'm going to show you what the trim looks like on the S8 and how to replace it. So this is the lower door of, well, this is the US driver's side lower door. And you can see I have the trim clips and things are removed on this door. But you can see it's basically the same exact layout as on the S4. And don't mind this actually needs some paint at some point, so that's part of the reason this is removed. But I'm going to pull out a trim strip here and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is a piece of lower door trim for the S8 and the A8. The D2s are the same. And you can see it's basically just a piece of plastic. It's actually a multi-piece. This little crack here, this back piece can actually come apart, and sometimes you'll see them fail that way where they'll basically fall apart. But there you get the bottom. Has the clips. Basically the difference in these is on the S4, you'll recall those trim pieces actually have the clips mounted to the door, and then you slide the trim onto the lower door. These have the clips mounted to the back of the trim, and there's basically little, they just push in and click in, and then you see basically put that over the peg on the door and slide it a little bit. So these are actually pretty straightforward and easy to remove and replace if you can find them. These basically suffer from the same problem as the S4 in that they are really hard to come by. You can get lucky and find these in decent shape in parts yards. In fact, that's where this one came from. So I'm going to go and basically slide this onto the door right now. But just keep in mind it has these clips, and if you happen to break any of these, or you'll have to basically locate the clips, and I'll see if I can maybe come up with a part number for these and put it in the description. But that's the key to having these stay together. Also, if your trim piece does happen to separate, I used to have one that was in two pieces, but I cannot find that at the moment. But I had that happen, and so the inside comes out of the outer casing basically, and you can actually glue that back together. I have successfully done that with a little bit of epoxy, going down the back of this and getting it all back together, and then it can go back in the car. So if it splits in half, it's not necessarily the end of the world. You can many times repair that with some creative epoxy. So there you go. Short and sweet on this one. Like I said, these just clip on and slide on. So I'm not sure. Let's see, this is probably a rear door, but I need to find the one for the front door and go ahead and reassemble that. Okay, there we go. It is on. I will say it is a bit of a challenge to get that to slide on. You have to hold it up, because you have to get basically all the clips in position and flush to push it forward to lock it in. So open the door a little bit and then get it in place. Use a hand up front, a knee, and a hand at the back, and then just slide the whole thing on, and there you go. It's actually pretty easy to do. And actually, if we're talking mid-trim here, I'm going to point to this one as an example. I've got this spare piece here. You can see the back of this, they actually mount via these clips, and there are these little push grommets, so they're actually still on here. These actually come off, these blue grommets. You put these in on the car side, and then this trim just basically pushes into it and holds securely. So pretty simple setup on that. And then next, if I can find my trim piece, I'm going to show you how the bottom of that front fender works. Okay, this is the trim for the US passenger front lower fender, which basically these are exactly the same as they are on the C4 cars. Goes right here. And to get it, you basically do the same thing you do on the C4. You have to get at the back side. So I have the fender liner removed, and it has this little plastic stud and a plastic nut that goes on that basically holds it in. This clip basically slides in on the rear part of that. So very, very straightforward. Pretty simple design. Like I said, you have to pull the fender liner to get at this to remove it properly. If you actually pull on this or yank on it, you'll break that stud off, and then you've only got this attachment point, and you're going to be having to fabricate something here in order to make that work. But I don't know if these are actually still available. I think they are for the S4, for the C4 S4 through Audi Tradition. So I'm trying to capture the part number there. So I'm going to look it up. I'll put a link in the description if I can find these somewhere on Tradition. But that is basically the gist of it, how the door trim moldings work on the D2 S8s. And I know somewhere I also I purchased new clips for the backside of the mid trims. They are blue in color, kind of like these. And I don't know if I can find a part for that, I will list that in the description as well, just in case any of yours are broken, and they do break pretty easily, especially the tabs that go into the aluminum backing part, or into the back side of this, and not this side, but the other side where it clips into the molding itself. They're very easily broken. So just gonna put that out there. Be very careful while removing them. Anyhow, thank you for watching. Hope this helps out some of you that are trying to maintain, preserve, restore your D2, A8, and S8.